Hi guys, it's Jeff here, the Photographer's Mentor, and in this webinar I'm going to be joined by the Photographer's Mindset Coach, Michelle. Now you probably know Michelle because me and Michelle have done quite a few webinars before, and we've decided to book a series of 4 webinars for photographers on the run-up to December, to Christmas, covering various areas on money mindset, procrastination, imposter syndrome, goal setting, all the stuff that it's not necessarily business related, but it's something that can be a blockage or cause a bit of friction, a bit of sticking point within your business. Must apologize. I do have a little bit of a cold, so if I do burst out in a coughing fit, I'll turn my mic off. But Michelle is going to be doing this presentation with me, so I'm going to bring Michelle into the live with me.
It's Hi, Michelle, man flu, guys. It's serious.
Yeah,
I'm good, thank you.
If I die, just carry on as normal. We'll just be professional.
I'm good, thanks. Yourself? Other than man flu?
Yeah, other than man flu, I'm great. No, I blame Ryanair. That's what it is, for being on a plane last weekend on the way back from Copenhagen. Yeah, that's where it's come from. So today we're going to be talking about money mindset. Is that right?
Yes, we are. It's a big topic, but we're going to cover the basics and kind of a chunk of it so that people really understand what could be holding them back from a money mindset perspective. It has to be one of the harder mindsets to change out of all of them, because people really do have, trying to think the right word, they really do get stuck on their beliefs about money. Mm-hmm. that it's one of those ones that are probably harder to change than perhaps an easier belief of, I'm not good enough with my work. That can often actually be easier to overcome than money is hard to get. So yeah.
And I think it's a universal thing, isn't it? And I think because photographers are very creative, sometimes we don't believe we're worth that sort of money. We don't believe that our services or our pictures that we take, we can never envisage ourselves being paid that much money for what we do. And then other people have a mindset around money that they will never actually have a lot of money, and everybody has the ability to earn unlimited amount of money. There isn't a limited amount of money in the world. There's infinite amounts of money. I'm just interested to see if hello to everybody who's commented there. Hi Terry from Cape Town. Just be interested to see what people feel about. Do people have a problem around money? Do you have a problem believing that you are worth what you charge for your photography? And do you have a problem with money, as in keeping hold of it, with saving money? Is that something you do struggle with? When it comes to paying bills and it comes to building your business, is the financial aspect of your business a bit of a problem for you? Drop it in the comments. It'd be interesting to hear from you, and also to find out where you're watching from. So I believe you've got a PowerPoint presentation as well to go with this.
I certainly do, yeah. And obviously, if you get any questions along the way, I can see as well. So if Jeff does happen to disappear on us, I can see your questions as well. So there, yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So now I just say hello to everybody who's commenting. It's nice to see you on today.
Hi Simon Taylor, hope you're well. Good to hear from you. Hello Sonia.
A few people in there. So we're going to touch base this week on money mindset, and we're also going to discuss it next week as well on a different way. So you're going to have 2 sessions because it is such a big topic. The first thing we're going to kind of chat about is thinking about how money makes you feel. Hi, Debbie. Energy, emotions, beliefs. How does money make you feel? Because money really does have a very powerful impact on us. For some reason, money, which is actually just a bit of paper we can, you can rip in half, and it's not tangible, it's just paper, but for some reason it holds so much emotion, beliefs and energy for us around it. So we're going to
The funny
start
thing
off.
Nowadays, money quite often money doesn't even exist, does it? You know, you can be on a downer just by going onto your online bank account and seeing a series of small figures instead of a series of big figures, and that can stop you enjoying your day. You can stop enjoying the day with a family. It can put you in a negative situation, and it doesn't actually exist. It's just a series of numbers inside a bank, and something that you don't actually physically have in your hand anymore.
And what's even more crazy is, although we say there's issues with money, they do literally print more money.
Yeah.
I know they're only allowed to print so much, and I don't get into all the politics side of money, but they literally, if you think about it, we're going to have a whole load of new money printed soon, aren't we? Because we have to have the picture changed. Like, money is literally...
And that's why the country became in such a mess, you know, a few years ago, because of quantitative easing, because the Treasury started printing more money, but then obviously inflation rates go up, and then the currency devalues as well.
Yeah, and money is literally... I look at money now as in exchange for my time. That's what money is to me. It's no longer money, which is what we often have beliefs about. It's an exchange of value. It's no different from years ago when you used to just swap vegetables with a piece of meat. But somehow, because it's something we call money, we actually have a lot of issues around this thing called money, this thing that doesn't, like you say, really exist at all. But when we exchanged it for veg and meat, we didn't have an issue. We didn't have beliefs behind it. But because we class it as a tangible thing, it becomes a big issue. So yeah, it's all quite deep today. So to start with, we're going to look at money beliefs, and a little bit later on, we're going to go into our upper limits. And upper limits are really, really important when it comes to money, because it can be a big barrier for how much you can save and how much you can make, things like that. And you need to learn what your upper limits are. So money beliefs, if you were to sit and look back at your life, what money beliefs would you realize you have? So a lot of the regular ones I see are: money doesn't grow on trees. To earn money, you have to work hard. To earn money, you have to work long hours. You have to sacrifice your family life if you want money. Money goes round, makes the world go round. Money is evil. There is never enough money. No one has any money. If you ever have the thought, no one has any money, or there is never enough money, please go to some of these high-end shops and watch people walking in and out of them with bags.
You know, funny enough, you should say that, Michelle. I was in Copenhagen at the weekend last week with my daughter, and in the square in Copenhagen is all the designer shops. And one of the landmarks to sort of like gauge where you are in the city is outside the Louis Vuitton shop. So we went there, and there was a queue probably about 50, 60 yards long of people queuing to go in the shop. And the guy was standing outside, letting one person in. There was about 10 people in the shop when somebody left, with walking smugly past everybody else with their brand new, God knows, £4,000 handbag. The next person would go in. And it was the prestige and the premium feel of being able to go in the shop. Yet 300 or 400 yards up the road were other shops selling handbags for 200 quid. Was nobody in? It's crazy, isn't it? You know, so yeah, and that's just a handbag. Yeah. So
yeah, it truly is. I mean, I remember looking online because I wanted to see what people spending on things. And I think it was like a paperclip. And this paperclip was about, I think it was about £1,000 for this gold paperclip.
that was Tiffany's. Tiffany's were doing one, weren't they?
It was something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it wasn't a charm. It was definitely just literally a paperclip to put on. And I was just like gobsmacked that you could buy a paperclip for £1,000. And you know, that is kind of where we really start to see where our money beliefs are, is when we sit there and judge people for spending £1,000 on a paperclip. You know you can't afford it if that's what happens. But
And
if
I
you
think another
really,
thing is people's preconception sometimes about themselves, and I'm very, very guilty of this because I was a bit of a naughty person when I was at school, and I got kicked out of school at 16-year-old, even though both my parents were teachers. So I left school with 0 qualifications. I was dyslexic, so really, really struggled through the whole school system. So I believed from a very early age that I would never amount to anything because I couldn't get a degree. I wasn't clever enough to actually ever have any money. So that was my own belief in myself, because I believed that people with degrees and people who were lawyers and doctors and went to university were the ones who had money, and I would only ever be able to have the minimum dead end jobs, and I wasn't worth anything because I hadn't earned that right to be paid more money.
yeah. And so many beliefs from childhood and things like that happening, or a lot of people, you don't hear about it so much nowadays, but you do hear of teachers saying to their students, you're never going to amount to anything because you can't focus, or you can't do your homework, or you can't do whatever. And now they'd say they'd have ADHD or something like that. And actually they're so clever that they can earn that amount of money easily. It's just they didn't fit into a societal system that we have, which I think is such a shame, because that's where a lot of our beliefs come from. If you look at our society in general, even things like commercial wise, you get the commercial people selling you, for women it's makeup, it's moisturizer, it's everything, because you don't look good enough as you are already. It's that kind of pushing those negative beliefs to us so that we'll spend money. And I think we really do need to look at what the world pressurizes us to believe and fight against it within our own inner selves, because we can't change everyone. We have to start with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is an interesting world we live in at the moment, as they say. So your money beliefs, they actually sit in your subconscious brain, and you have created really strong neural pathways over time. So the more you repeat something, the more you say something to yourself in your conscious brain, or other people say it to you, the bigger and stronger a pathway you create to that becoming automatically what you believe. So what happens because of this? Your subconscious brain shows you things that it thinks is true. And it doesn't care if it's true or not. You've told it it's true, or the people around you have told you it's true. Therefore, it automatically believes that. It thinks you need to know that this is true. So the things that happen with your subconscious brain, it will actually, so when we have thousands of bits of information every day thrown at us and thrown at our brain from social media, from, you drive down the road, you've got signs, you've got adverts up, all sorts of different things. You're getting information all the time. You stand in a room full of people, you can't hear everybody. Your brain is going to pick up on certain people within a room. Now, whatever your subconscious brain thinks is true, it will look out for. So it will look out for the person who complains there isn't enough money in the world. It's going to look out for that person on Facebook that posts, I'm working really long hours, I have no family, but at least I'm making a little bit of money. It's going to look out for exactly the evidence that supports what you already believe, and it will ignore the opposite. So you actually have to sit here after this session and start reversing this. And I wish I could tell you the reversal was a quick process. It really isn't. But it's little things like walking to one of those shops that we were just talking about and watching people spend money, watching them come out with the bags, making note that these guys are buying £1,000 shoes, £1,000 handbags, and showing your brain that the belief you have is not true.
And I think another good one for photographers, and I say this to a lot of people who I work with, is don't look at the people who you think are competitors in your local area that are charging less than you, because that's just going to change your mindset to, oh, need to charge this amount to get business. Look at the top of the game in your industry, the top headshot photographers, the top wedding photographers. Then jump onto their social media, see how active they are. See there, oh, there's another shoot. Oh, I've done another shoot this weekend. Because those people are making the money you dream of making. And their first ever job they did as a photographer, I don't care what anybody says, it was more than likely for free.
100%.
You don't start charging £10,000-20,000 for a wedding, or £500 for or £1,000 for a headshot shoot or whatever. You've got to start somewhere. And these people started, they built their brand, and now they're charging the premium. So look at these premium photographers, because they have customers, they have people, and those customers could potentially be yours as well.
Yeah, I find it really fascinating. I have a coaching client who I've worked with now for quite a few years. We've completely changed her business model from sort of the free lower end to the higher end, and she now gets basically £1,000 up front for her shoots. That's what she gets paid. No freebies, no. But it's fascinating seeing her journey and how she's changed her mindset. And then I have somebody new come in with the lower end mindset, and they kind of say to me, "Oh, but the only way I can get shoots in is by doing free competitions. I'll never get paid for a shoot." That's the kind of money mindset that comes out. And I think sometimes our own industry doesn't help us, because in a lot of the Facebook groups, you will see people saying, "I'm running this free competition. I'm running this, I'm running that." And admittedly, the client I coach, who is making the £1,000, we're not going anywhere near the clients that they are. We're stepping into big exhibitions, or she's connecting with companies which are the higher end of the brand for that industry. So she's obviously looking for the clients because she's going where the clients are, which makes a difference as well. But it's really, really interesting to see how the mindset for photographers, a lot of them at the moment, from money perspective, is we can't charge for a shoot. No one will pay for a shoot because no one pays for a shoot, because that's how the industry has been built. And it honestly is not true. If you create your brand, build your brand, you will be paid for a shoot.
Totally. And it's as you see within, in my own private group that you're in, every week we have people at the end of the week telling us their wins for the week. And, I've just landed this client, I've just landed that client. And it's not about giving stuff away for free. It's about charging a premium price for a premium service. And the other thing, when you charge a premium, when you charge a higher price, when something is premium, why all those people lined up outside that designer shop in Copenhagen? Because premium also goes along with high quality and extreme first class service. So if you buy something that's premium, it's going to last you, and you're going to get good service.
And there are always, I've just seen the question come up about what do you do with unhealthy competition, and there's so many photographers that are charging low rates and clients take the cheapest one. Well, I can tell you I don't pick the cheapest thing when I purchase.
No.
Obviously, it depends on what I'm buying. If I'm buying a book and Amazon comes up with 2 places that the book can be bought, and it's the same thing that I'm getting no matter what, it's a little bit different. But if I'm looking for a service where I want high quality, I'm not going to go and pick maybe McDonald's over something else that I want, or I want something to last. And I think that you need to look at those clients that are searching for the cheapest person. They're just not your clients. And
Totally.
if your branding is attracting them, they're not your clients. So you need to work on your branding to make sure you show you're a high end, you're offering a good service. People will save. I know this particular client I've been coaching, people see her every year at the same places, these high end places. I know people that have saved for 2 years to have a shoot with her.
Yeah.
They've just saved. They haven't gone for the cheapest. They've saved because they've seen her work. They want her work.
And that what that comes down to, something I always harp on about, is perceived value. And perceived value doesn't come from your products, your photographs. Perceived value, as you rightly said, comes from your brand. And if you look at all the design, you just take one designer industry. So you look at like designer fashion, right? So look at one premium industry, designer fashion. If you look at all the different designer brands, like sort of, you know, like Gucci and stuff like that, you will notice all their fonts are very similar. Like Gucci, Burberry, all these have very similar fonts, very similar colors, very similar writing, very similar feel about their website, because that projects a premium feel within that industry. And if everybody bought on price alone, all these premium brands wouldn't exist. There would be no luxury cars, there would be no Jaguars or BMWs or Mercedes. All we would have is cheap cars. You know, yet every single industry in the world, from sports to health and nutrition to even dentists, you know, has a premium offering. And people are buying that because of the perceived value in that brand. So you need to look at brands that already serve your ideal client type. So if you're a wedding photographer, don't look at other wedding photographers. Look at the high-end wedding venues and the premium wedding magazines, and try and copy your brand on them so you can be as prestigious as they are in the eyes of your customer.
I am, by the way, loving this, the questions coming through. One person has put, it's true, but many people don't have much money, so they choose the cheapest one. That is your money belief. It may be, and I'm going to chat about it in a minute on one of the slides forward. Is it that you can't afford it, so you believe nobody else can afford it? That's my question for you with that. Because there are people that don't have money, but there are lots of people that do have money. And that's what we need to look at. I believe there's a disconnect between buying a premium handbag and photography. The handbag is a public flex. Photos are private, so no flex. And so many can't tell the difference between premium. You think they can't tell, but actually, interestingly enough, the people at the top end can tell. The people who are really, really looking, and they're looking and comparing photographers, often can tell the difference. But again, like we've said, it's not actually about the photography. It's about your brand and your experience and the value you create from your website.
Yeah. And it's also that as a photographer, the last thing you should really be selling are photographs. You sell what the benefit or the solution or the emotion feeling is to the client. So one of my clients who I can name, she's very, very active on LinkedIn, Karen Richards, who's a headshot photographer. She's up to her price over and over and over again. And the more she ups her price, the less price conflict she gets, because people who work with Karen don't want to buy a headshot. What they want to do is look amazing. They want to create the perfect first impression to their network on LinkedIn. They want to look premium. They want to look professional. And as Karen says in her strapline and on her website, they want to stop the scroll. They want to stand out. So if they've got to pay that extra bit of money to do that, they will do that, because these people don't cut corners when it comes to their professional appearance online. So they'll pay that bit extra. So what does your photography do for your client? And sell the end result. Don't sell a photo. Sell the beautiful wall art in the living room that gets all the family standing on wow, and the enjoyment that wall art brings to you every day you see it. The photo is only a step to the end result or the end solution.
How do you up your prices? You can either do it slowly. So you can just start, like at the moment you say it's around 700 euros. So if it feels comfortable with you, you could put it to 750, you could put it to 800, and then just very, very slowly keep putting it up. You can also add extra value. There may be things that you could add into the package, which would create more value for your client, in which case you can then justify putting it up even more. So that is an option for you. Also saying that getting to know the people on the side that can afford it. Start looking in your area. Start looking, like you said, because this is weddings, this person's chatting about, the higher end venues. Start getting in touch with them. Start getting in touch with the higher end people within the industry around you as well. And make sure you look higher end and you're offering higher end. We've kind of, though, gone a little bit past money mindset, I've noticed. It's all there. Basically, everything you guys are commenting, if you wrote these down, these are all parts of your own beliefs. So if you literally wrote down, I can't charge more than 700 euros, that is your belief.
Yeah. And one thing to think, when you think about belief, how we've talked about brand being the key thing, because premium brands look premium because we've been educated for the past 50 or 100 years that these types of fonts with this color, with this layout looks premium. Like, we instantly see something that looks premium. That is a belief that we've instilled in but we look at that. So if you want to look more premium to your ideal clients, right, then you've got to change your brand. If your brand looks, if you want to appeal to the rich side, you have to be speaking their language, because they are looking at Gucci handbags, they're looking at Mulberry, they're looking at BMW, Mercedes. They recognize logos and fonts and colors that ooze premium. If your website and your brochures and stuff don't meet that criteria, they're going to think you're cheap and you're not worth it, even if your photography is absolutely amazing. So you've got to put the belief into them, the preconceived belief through branding that that you're the best, that you're worth it. It's high quality, it's premium service.
And I always knew this topic was going to be huge, because money beliefs, money mindset is such a big topic. And again, believing that you can't attract rich clients is again a belief. And I know that sounds crazy, but if that's the belief in your subconscious, coming back to what I said in this slide, your subconscious will only allow you to see when it's happening. So you said, I might be wrong, but I see it happening a lot. So the reason you're seeing it is because in your subconscious, that's your belief. So you're not going to see anything different, because that's what's true to you. And that's what you need to remember. Our brains are so fascinatingly clever, and they want to keep us safe. And to do that, they only show you the evidence that matches what you've taught it to be true. So really, really think about that when you're saying these things. And it's brilliant that you're saying them. It's brilliant that you're commenting them, because you can make a note of these and start to undo the beliefs that you have and start looking at other things. I mean, you've probably all heard of stories where people who aren't rich but want to go and buy a certain car, and they've saved the money up, and they go to the dealers, and the dealers ignore them, and because they don't look right. That kind of thing. And actually they don't have money, but they go in and they buy. It's judgment of people as well, I think. Is a big thing. You might
you talked about the limiting beliefs, and also a lot of it comes through something we can all, and something I know you do all the time, Michelle, and I do every single day. I've just cancelled my TV license because I don't watch TV. I only ever watch Amazon Prime, so I cancelled it because I don't fill my social media, I don't fill my days with stuff that's negative or stuff that's draining. I listen to loads of positive audiobooks. And for somebody who, if you don't know my past, like 7 years ago, I lost over 150,000, and I tried to drive my car off a bridge and kill myself because I couldn't go on any longer. And I struggled with auto depression and feelings of failure and lack of self-worth. But I reprogrammed my mind those 6 months after trying to take my own life. It was so important that I either went one way or the other. And by programming and listening to positive books, that changed my mindset to create a new business and then build a business up that's become very successful, and, opening another business next month. So, from going from complete failure to back up again, it's all been in the mindset, because I could have let myself go the other way.
And we have to remember that what we believe creates who we are, and it creates how we act as a person. Sometimes we won't even try and get a sale if we don't believe we can get a sale. If we truly don't believe in ourselves, the value of our work, and even if our clients have money, you are instantly going to turn the sales room, the viewing, you're going to just turn it away. Yeah. So I ask you a question and something for you to think about. Obviously, we're going to move on in this, but if you write this down so you can look at it later, before you go into a sales room, how do you feel and what are your thoughts? That could be a viewing room after your portrait. That could be a meeting with the business person that you're talking to. It could be a pre-wedding meeting, whatever that is. Before, in the lead up, what are you thinking? Are you thinking, oh, they're never going to be able to spend, no one can ever spend money for me? Or are you going in there confident and believing that everybody wants what you want? And I don't mean, because a lot of people have thrown up at me when I say things like that, that egotistical, arrogant side. That's not what I mean, but it's that soft, confident, I know my value. And you have to remember, you're exchanging your time for money here. So if you want to exchange your time for £5 an hour and do, I don't know, whatever it is, a shoot for £30, are you ever going to be able to live a life you're happy? Ever? If you do that, you might as well go and work at, I don't know, Amazon for £15 an hour or whatever they pay, because you're never going to be happy exchanging that time. And money, we can make more money whenever you want. You can go out, you can make more money. What we can never do is get more time back. And that's what we have to remember we're exchanging for.
Totally.
So
and just to back up what to sort of like fire back at what Orvis has just said there in the comments, that, you know, I actually have on board my program, I have clients in over 20 countries worldwide, and I've yet to find a client who can't charge a premium price. And I have clients who actually are in, I know you say you're in Germany, in Hamburg. I actually do have clients in Hamburg. I have clients who work in third world countries. I've got a hotel photographer, Vincent, who's on LinkedIn, who's in Cambodia, but he works for some of the premium brands and charges a premium price. So he works for likes of the Marriotts and the Hiltons and the Kempinskis and stuff like that from a third world country. So if he can get that money because of belief in his brand and belief in his services, you know, it is an international thing. You know, it's just getting that message right.
And Ian, you are right. Limiting beliefs really do harm everybody, and it is something that our world brings to us. I want you to think about this as well for the next day. The person booking isn't you. Quite often we judge people on ourselves. So if we have a limiting belief that says we can't earn over, I don't know, £700 a month, I'm just being ridiculous now, but £700 a month, for example, and you really struggle every day and you struggle with your finances, because that's your life experience, you expect that to be the life experience of the person who's booking. So quite often you will offer discounts straight away in a viewing room because you know you would need to offer yourself a discount.
Yeah.
And we really do judge everybody that comes through as if they've lived the same experience that we have. And quite often they haven't. And I have seen people who, even some people who have really, really struggled financially. In my old studio, I had one, and I must admit, I judged them because I actually ended up going to their house to shoot that instead of my studio. And I did judge them, and they came back and they spent, I think it was about £2,500 with me in the viewing room. And they'd basically inherited a load of money. But if you'd have judged them,
yeah, totally. And you know, it's about as well understanding people's priorities. So, like, you know, I have a friend who's coming up to see me tomorrow. He loves TV. He's got a big, huge TV on his wall, like 70-inch TV. Gets always buys the latest stuff. Now, if you said to me, Jeff, you can have this top of the range 70-inch TV with surround speakers and stuff for 200 quid, it's worth 3,000. I'll be like, no, it's all right. I'll give it a miss, because it's not a priority to me, because I don't want one. But if you offered me a really nice Belstaff jacket, which is like £2,000 for 500 quid, I'd probably buy it because I do like those jackets, right? So, like, some people don't have a high priority in photographs. Other people do. Some people don't have a high priority in fancy cars. You know, I have friends who will pay 200 quid for a t-shirt, but wouldn't pay more than £25 for a meal in a restaurant. I'd rather go for a nice bit of food than pay 200 quid on a t-shirt, you know. So
Yeah. And you have to think, like, for example, if you're a family photographer, you're not selling the photography, you're selling the family connection and the emotions. And I think sometimes I've seen, it was very, very fascinating. I did a workshop for some people, and I actually had a non-photographer come in, which I was fine with, because a lot of the stuff can be translated. And they turned around and they said, I would not book that person as a photographer because their images are too nice. And I can't see my child sitting there the way all the children in their thing sit. And that's a reminder to show the behind the scenes and the hard stuff, because her belief was, from a client's perspective, my child is not a child that would sit there like that and have that picture done. What they don't realize is that photographer has spent an hour to get that one picture, and this 3-year-old has been running up and down the studio. And we have a habit of not showing that side of it. So our clients then get a belief that we can't go to that place because my children will break things.
Yeah.
So do remember that they have their beliefs and we have to work around them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something I learned a lot from that session.
But from weddings, I've photographed over 750 weddings in my career, and all the really, really nice wedding images that I put on Facebook that were really arty, bride and groom backlit against a castle with fireworks going off, very, very low engagement. But the ones that technically weren't that marvelous, but captured the bride and groom with their heads back, laughing their heads off, or the father of the bride a tear, but there might still be something growing out of his head behind, because he's standing behind a lamppost. Those got loads of engagement because to the bride, that's how she envisaged her day. She might have looked at the picture with the fireworks in the castle going, oh my God, it must have been bloody freezing standing there during the night while the fireworks are going off. So, you've got to think of what your client likes. You're not selling to photographers, you're selling to the public.
Yeah. And we're often selling emotion more than anything else. Upper limits. This is quite big. You can look at an upper limit a little bit like self-sabotage, but we are literally hardwired to stay within our comfort zones. And often that comfort zone is struggle and lack of abundance. Quite a few of you who are listening right now may actually be feeling very triggered with some of the stuff me and Jeff are saying about money, and you can charge more. And we've got we know people within your areas that are charging more. And you can actually feel really, really triggered and a bit like, oh, this isn't safe. So you don't want to hear it from us. And that is basically your upper limit and your comfort zone stepping in and going, no, that's different. Be scared. You don't want to listen to that. You don't want to hear that, because that's going to take you out of your comfort zone. And if you come out of your comfort zone, thousands of years ago, you'd be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, because you'd be stepping into something else. And so I do truly understand how we're probably triggering a lot of people, which is why I'm loving the comments. You guys are being so authentic with the comments. It's brilliant to hear. And it's nice for you to sort of say how you feel, because we can then help you and say, well, actually we can give you this example. But we have a really highly developed sense of self-preservation, and literally anything out of the familiar triggers this. It's one of the reasons we struggle to move forward and imagine what something would be like if we haven't already been through it. Like, it's that better the devil you know, because you know it and you know what's going to happen, so you're safe. That's why a lot of people never leave their jobs. That's why a lot of people never step up and do something that they've always dreamed to do. Those type of things we're stopped because of our upper limits. And we will literally instantly bring forth negative thoughts and behaviors if we start having good things happen. And we will ruin everything we achieve. You could have just made a $4,000 sale in your viewing room, and you will literally sit there and go, yeah, but the other two were no sales. It never really happens. just a one-off. They're going to ring back tomorrow and cancel the order.
Yeah.
You will literally ruin it for yourself because it's so out of your comfort zone. You just don't believe it can happen. And it ruins life for us because this isn't just money. This is everything. This is, you want to lose weight. You spend 2 months losing weight to only put it back on in 2 weeks because your comfort zone and your body feels safe at the size you were at. It doesn't feel safe being that skinny person. So it's that kind of thing that really, really triggers within our brain, and our brain's super clever with it. A lot of us are actually not even ready to feel good or be happy, even though we think we want it. We think we can't be it. We're not ready to allow ourselves to have that. So the way to look at an upper limit is, imagine you have a thermostat. So, your thermostat is going to regulate the temperature in your house. Well, this thermostat is regulating the temperature of your life and how safe you are. It's set at how much love, success, wealth, and health you're allowed within your life and in your comfort zone. And a lot of this is programmed when you are young. So you learn a lot of what the level should be from when you're a kid. Often when we get money, love, or success, it can go against our internal belief and that we don't deserve it, which is why a lot of people who win the lottery spend it all really, really quickly. And then you will find that within so many years, they're actually living back at the same struggle level they were before they won. And that's because that to them and their body and their mind is safe. And they haven't spent the time changing their upper limit and changing their beliefs to be able to accept that they could have that money and invest it. You can even, part of an upper limit is pulling yourself back from being successful. If the people that surround you aren't, you can actually feel guilty if you're happier than your friends that are around you moaning. So you're sat there and all your friends are struggling. You're actually doing well and you feel like something has to go wrong so you can be part of the circle. So you then hit an upper limit and you make something happen just so you can tell your friends, so you connect. Because connection is really important. Many, many, many years ago, if we didn't have a group of people, we would have less chance of survival. So you really need to think, like, you won't even notice you're doing these things. But the reason I'm telling you about this now is so you can start becoming aware and notice when you're doing these things, because that's the only way change happens, is from awareness. And then you can start changing. So where you start with doing this is your awareness and your beliefs. You look at things that are going on, how you feel before you do a sale, how you feel after you do a sale, how you feel when you lose weight, how you feel when you put it back on. What are the beliefs sat there? And also just your friends and family. Will you feel guilty if you earn more money than they do? If your family has struggled all their life, your parents have struggled, will you feel guilty if you suddenly become a really good success? Because no, that shouldn't be what happens. You should be struggling like your parents struggled. Thanks, Anne. I'll speak to you soon.
See, Anne. And I think, I have so many people who maybe, come on board my program, or I do like a mentoring call with them. And they'll say, I can never see myself charging £2,000 for a branded shoot, or I can never see myself charging £2,500 for a branded shoot. Incidentally, Anne Thomas, who's just left, Anne charges that much for a branded shoot and even more. But a few years ago, she was charging about 300 quid. And I say to people, can you see yourself, if you're charging 300 quid now, can you see yourself charging 400? Oh, yeah. When you get to 400, can you see yourself charging 600? So I could help you with branding and business advice and marketing skills, get to £2,000, but you have to have a premium brand. You could get everything right, but you've got to believe in yourself, because if you don't come across confident, you don't have that self-belief, then your customers they're gonna pick up on that in your mannerisms. That's why car salesmen are so confident, aren't they? They're so good at what they do, because their training is about confidence. One of my best mates is a car salesman. He's probably watching this, but that's what it's about. We can all charge a premium, but we've got to believe and see ourselves doing it. So we can't put our prices from 300 to 2,500, but we can put it to 500. And then in 3 or 4 months' time, we can put it again. And then if you're worried about putting that price up, add a little bit more extra, just a little bit more extra, give a bit more value. Then you can say, right, well, I'll give a little bit more value in the package. I deem I'm worth a bit more money.
We've been doing that with my coaching client I was chatting about earlier, and it's fascinating because she put it up by 50 quid and she was like, no one's blinked. And I'm like, yeah, do you want to put it up by another 100 now? Because no one's blinked. And yeah, I think it's fascinating. That being said, an upper limit thing that we will do is not just bringing the money in. You could bring the money in, but then because you're used to having a certain level within your bank account, be it 500 quid, be it nothing, be it 1,000, you can actually then go and spend it all just so your bank account is at the level you're comfy with, because all you know is struggle, or all you know is this. I have clients that are the other way. They actually can't have their bank account go below a certain number. And that's still an upper limit because they're scared to invest or spend to earn some of that money. And, that's the same thing. They've got limits in a different direction. So it's really interesting how we will literally sabotage and spend, and then we end up with the same amount of money we had before, and we end up struggling and worrying and paying the bills because we spent it all on something that was sparkly, just because subconsciously we're not allowed over £1,000 in the bank account or whatever it is. And this stuff, I will say, I've spent years studying and understanding my mindset, and it does take a little bit of time. Maybe that's a belief, because I always hate saying that it takes time, because I do believe that can be a belief as well. But you need to read and understand it, and to read and understand it, it does take a little bit of time to really learn. One of the exercises I wanted to give you guys today is, you don't have to put it in the comments, it's up to you if you want to. What is your financial goal? I want you to think about what your financial goal is. If you're not sure, which you should be, but if you're really not sure, make it up for a minute. And I want you to put it monthly rather than yearly. So I just want to put, I want to earn 2,000 a month, whatever it is, 3,000, 4,000. It can be turnover or profit. I'm really not gonna push for it to be either at the moment. Just, I want to earn, and that's your financial goal. I'm not gonna go crazy with the details. I just want to see how you feel. When you write that figure down, I then maybe later sit down, or you can do a couple of seconds now while I'm chatting. I want you to think about how that figure makes you feel. Is there anything thinking, I can't actually make the financial goal? Is there anything stopping you? Is there any beliefs coming up? Start writing out those beliefs, and like I say, continue with it later. The next bit I want you to do is, I want you to take that monthly amount, and I actually want you to double it. So I want to double your target a month. Now I want to ask you how that makes you feel. Does it make you feel scared? Does it make you feel anxiety? Does it come up with different beliefs like, that's not even possible? That's not even this. There's no way that can ever happen. I want you to write down those beliefs. People will never spend that much. It could even be a belief that I don't have enough time to make that much money, which again isn't true. But this is a really good exercise for you to get into and feel how you feel about money. When you've spent some time on this, and obviously you've probably written a few bits down today, guess what we're going to do now? We're going to take this money amount and we're going to times it by 5. And then we're going to see how you feel about it and what money beliefs come up.
So Sonia is now on 40 grand a month.
Yeah, you're on 40 grand a month now. How does that feel? Because this is really important. And we are going to be chatting visualization on the 3rd week. I've written it down. 4th week on the 1st of December. And visualization is going to be a big part of how you can change your money mindset. So do jump into that. But if you start imagining that you're actually making that 40K a month and start picturing it in your brain, your brain does not know the difference between what you visualize and what is actually happening. It has no clue. So that is just something good, friggin' awesome. I love that. But that is something to be really aware of. And obviously come and watch us on the 1st of December for a real in-depth bit on visualization. But your brain doesn't know the difference. So the things I'm going to give you to do, write down a list of your money beliefs holding you back. Use the exercises I've given you to do it. I would honestly start a journal. It's really, really good for your mindset. It's really good for understanding your mindset, not just in money, but in other areas you're self-sabotaging yourself. On Monday, my next podcast will be launched, and that is all about journaling. Start rewiring your brain with thoughts of positivity. So you can do things like just literally say, I am abundant, I am wealthy, I am seen, I am successful. You just start saying them every time you start saying negative stuff in your head. Just repeat the opposite of your beliefs. And take the time out to spend on that money exercise we just did and write what comes up and how you feel. And then you want to basically write the opposite and start working on that. And these are really, really important things. A little exercise I can give you, which I haven't written on here, is that you can also give yourself £100 a day and spend it. So I don't mean physically give yourself £100, but imagine you've been given £100 a day to spend. And a bit like time, at the end of this 24 hours, that £100 doesn't exist anymore. So you can't spend it after today. You have to go out and spend £100. See how you can spend it. The next day, 200. The next day, 300. The next day, 400. And you just keep going up. And it's a very good exercise in becoming comfortable with money, even though you're not physically spending it. And obviously it builds it up incrementally until you're literally buying 4 houses in a day. And it's quite fun, I can tell you, to buy 4 houses in a day. Even if it's in my imagination, it's quite fun to buy 4 houses a day. And you start getting picky. You're looking at these 4 houses going, no, that's not right. It hasn't got a big enough bath. I wonder how much the bath would cost or the extension would cost. Maybe I'll get 3 houses and then I'll extend that one because that isn't quite right. But you also start knowing stuff you like, because when you're spending, you work out what your values are. So it's a really, really good exercise.
And I think it's a good idea to set yourself, what you said, like, doubling, trebling, times 5, your initial first goal. And I think when you set a higher goal, if you have a goal and it's like to do 5 grand, but if you suddenly increase that goal to 10, you're gonna have to work harder. But even if you just get half the way there, you've already hit what you first thought of. If your goal was 5 grand and you work hard and you only hit 50%, you only hit 2.5. So by having a higher goal makes you work harder. And even if you don't hit that bigger goal, you'll achieve something amazing in between. When I first left the Navy in 2004, after being a Navy photographer, we had a goal to have a 6-figure photography business within 18 months, and we hit it. And I remember being my ex-business partner looking at our business bank account after paying everything out, after paying ourselves, and there was 25 grand sitting in there, and that was pretty amazing. You're like, oh, we've got this just in the savings pot, and we still had the tax pot, and we were paid on a regular basis. And we were people who'd been photographing ships and people in military uniform. We weren't amazing wedding photographers, because the wedding photographers who'd been around for 10, 15 years were far better than us. But it was our business and our branding that drove us forward. And one thing, I do actually have a book. I'll be a little bit promotional. I'll stick it in the comments. So it's the Ambitious Photographer's Journal. So I actually did write a book on goal setting, and it's a bit of a strategy. You can get it on Amazon. Just Google the Ambitious Photographer's Journal on Amazon. But I talk about setting yourself something, and I've got a screensaver on my laptop now, I have a Triumph T 120 Bonneville, which I've decided I'm going to have that in March. My new website company launches next month, and I've decided I will have enough money to buy that. And I see that every single day. And me and Michelle, because Michelle's a biker, we were talking about that the other week, and she says you want to start visualizing yourself riding it and going around the corners and stuff. And it is so powerful, when you set yourself something to aim for and you start believing in it and get excited about it. That also gives you the confidence. This next customer is going to help me get that new car or get that dream holiday that I want to take the family on.
Literally 2 weeks after I implemented visualization into wanting my last motorbike that I got, I literally had a message from someone who'd found me a bike within the price range. And I hadn't even realized what my price range was. I just jokingly driven the car and pretended. And as I was driving, I was thinking, I'm going around the corner on the bike. I'm doing this. And I was visualizing it as I was focusing on driving as well. But you kind of visualize you're on the bike on the road. Literally within 2 weeks, I was picking up the bike. It was absolutely crazy.
So what we've got next in store then, Michelle, with you?
So next week we're doing money mindset again, but we're actually going to look at the gratitude and bills side of it rather than the making money side of it that we've been doing today. So we're going to chat about how the energy from paying your bills can often stop the flow of money from coming in. From a law of attraction based type, and just from getting stuck within yourself as well. I just really do want to put this comment that someone here has put. I just don't want to pronounce your name wrong. Philinis. I did something the same. I wrote down at the start of the year that in summer I'll have 20 weddings and a new car, and at the end of the summer both of these came true through visualization. Fantastic. And honestly, visualization is so powerful. But yeah, that's what we're doing next week. We're looking at the spending side of money mindset and the gratitude towards your bills, rather than panicking or getting that negative feeling and the negative visualization and emotion going.
Fantastic. And it's going to be the same time. So it's going to be Thursday next week, 12:30 GMT. And if you do have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to myself and Michelle. Connect with Michelle on LinkedIn if you're not already connected with her. Michelle has a fantastic business, the Photographer's Mindset Coach, and a great program. And she's a lovely person who's really helpful. She gives up her time. She's given up over 4 hours over the next month to come and do this with me. So it's all about us trying to help you as photographers, so that 2023 you go into 2023 with a completely different mindset, some really adventurous goals, but even better, you're going to smash those goals with a lot more confidence.
Yes.
So thanks again, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you very much, Michelle. It's been great having you on board. And we'll look forward to seeing everybody next Thursday. We'll be doing I'll probably do a post tomorrow on LinkedIn and set up the event. And then all you've got to do is come back. And yes, Sonia, if you just follow my hashtag creating successful photographers. If you type that hashtag into the LinkedIn search bar, hashtag creating successful photographers, and you follow it, all you have to do is go back to that hashtag, and you can rewatch this as many times as you want. It's also on my YouTube channel, and I think it's on my personal Facebook page as well if you're friend with me on Facebook.
Brilliant. I look forward to seeing you guys next week.
Thanks again, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye now.